Take your gaming to the tabletop with your friends and ours, Adam and Kara, on YouTube at Crunchy Cozy Games. Get your next board game recommendation with top 10 lists, curated looks at classic games and emerging new favorites, and conversations about everything they love in the world of board gaming. No matter whether you play for a challenge or play to unwind, Crunchy Cozy Games on YouTube has something for you. Subscribe to Crunchy Cozy Games today. Hi, welcome to Turn-Based Besties, a podcast where two grown adults with no free time talk about their favorite RPGs. I'm DJ.
And I'm Sam, and we're besties that love to game.
Yeah, we do. We just spent like 20 minutes trying to make our sound work, so I think it's going to be a good episode.
Oh yeah, it was very solid. And then the classic unplug replug for the win.
Yeah, that actually totally worked. So we're winning tonight, man.
And we're a little bit behind, and that's okay. In my household, in Sam's household, we are now a household of 5 since our last recording.
Woohoo! Babies!
Little baby K.
Baby K, baby K, baby J, and baby N.
That's right. And baby J, the 2.5-year-old, who, he's doing great. We really were afraid of the transition for the 2.5-year-old going from the baby to no longer being the baby. It was going to be a scary transition. The first time Jay met baby K, he did okay. Everything seemed fine. And then he just kind of sulks out into the hallway and just arms slumped, kind of dragging his legs. And I follow him out there and I get down and he just looks up at me and he goes, "I don't like baby K."
No.
Yes. And so at that point, I thought it was going to be not so great, but we have focused a lot on making sure he has a lot of attention and feels special. And it's been grand. Also, it helps that N is obsessed with babies and Jay wants to be like N. So he's trying to follow along in that. And so it's actually gone just grand so far.
Cool. Well, that's good.
Yeah.
Oh,
and
wait. How long has new baby been there now? 2 weeks?
Yeah, we're going on 2 weeks. 2 weeks to today. Yeah.
Oh,
crazy.
Baby K, which means, as you said, we may need to have fun edits in this episode if baby K needs a little extra help.
Exactly. We may have some edits if I'm helping out with my wife who's taking care of her. And yeah, but she was an Earth Day birthday, which is kind of fun.
Earth Day birthday. The 21st?
22nd.
22nd. Oh, I really should know that.
Why? I never knew it before. You shouldn't know it.
No, I mean, I should know that because I got married on Earth Day. Lols.
Oh, yeah. You should know that. Yeah, really you should know that. And I should know that.
But okay. Earth Day changes between the 21st and 22nd, I feel like it's not consistent.
I think it's always the same. But that's okay.
No, it's not. Maybe it is.
We can get back to that. We can research it, but I'm pretty sure it's the same.
It's always the same. You're right.
Well, anyway, but no, so we're surviving here in the household with 5 and trying to get sleep when we can, but that does not stop us from recording another episode. And so here we are. The other thing, I was thinking about Jay a little bit, and I don't know if I brought this one up before, so I guess we'll edit it out if I already brought this story up, but it's a fun one. Okay. So, I thought I didn't talk enough about Jay compared to N during these beginning segments, because In gets the "Daddy, tell me everything about" segments and
That's
those kind of
true.
things. So Jay, when we were at Disney, or Disney, as the kiddos call it sometimes, uh, In really wanted to go on the roller coaster, the Slinky Dog roller coaster, Toy Story Slinky Dog. The whole ride looks like the Slinky Dog. It's great. Well, Jay, of course, much too small to go on this ride, but he would watch folks on this ride, and he heard them screaming, right? Screaming mostly probably in joy, not in fear, some in fear maybe. But he would be watching them, go over him and hear these people screaming. And Jay was every time it would happen, Jay would look up very distressed and go, "We gotta go help those guys." And he really wanted wanted to make sure that we went and helped the people on Slinky Dog, who to him were obviously imperiled. Something bad was happening,
Yeah.
and they needed his help as a 2.5-year-old. So gotta go help those
Oh
guys.
my gosh, Jay was just getting a head start on being the hero of his own JRPG. Truly.
He's gonna be the hero. Yeah.
He
Yeah,
is.
Hero Jay.
I feel like I know that story, but I don't know if you've told it on the pod. And even if you have, it's really cute. So
It's cute.
I'm
It's
gonna keep
cute.
it
He
in
needs some
anyway.
love. Yeah, he needs some love.
Oh,
But well, what all you've been up to a lot. You've been busy.
yeah.
I know that, especially in this last week. So what's been going on?
I've been traveling. I had the funniest adventure back to Columbia, Missouri. For those of you who don't know, that's where Sam and I met, even though neither of
Hmm.
us live there anymore. And I had a gig that the people who were organizing the gig bought my travel, which is really awesome when gigs can do that for you. And they bought it like 11 months out. So I was supposed to fly from Seattle to Dallas to Columbia, Missouri, all on a Tuesday. But like a month or so ago, I got bumped back on my first flight, and I had to do a red eye out of Seattle on Monday night at like 11:45 p.m. And so then I get to Dallas at about 4:45 a.m. on Tuesday morning, and then I have a layover until 1:30 p.m. So I kind of walk
Oh my
around.
God.
I walk around for like an hour or so. I'm really tired at this time because I can't. I suck at sleeping on planes. I don't know about you, but it's a terrible place for me to try to sleep.
It's
Um,
not great.
and then I saw that they had these sleeping pods, these sleeping rooms, for $50 an hour, which is offensive.
It
So
is.
of course I did 2 hours of a nap there because I was just so tired. And I didn't tell my husband about it until I got home because I didn't want him to be mad at me. But I had to do it.
Oh,
um,
he wouldn't have been mad.
no,
Would
he
he?
wasn't mad. He wasn't mad. No, he wasn't
Was
mad.
it was it worth it? What's it like? Is it anywhere worth $50 an hour? Surely
No,
no, that's crazy.
no,
But
nothing's worth. It's no, not at all. I mean, it was like a six by
but what's it
six
like?
room. It was like a
Okay.
little day bed, and they gave you a pillow, and there was a fan on, and they're like, "Here's a TV," and I was like, "I'm gonna go to sleep." And they're like, "We know. Here's a snack bar if you want." And I'm like, "I'm not gonna touch these snacks because it was like a traditional hotel that if you touch the snacks or like eat them, you get charged more." Yeah, and then there
Um,
was like a suspicious box of tissues next to the daybed, and I'm like, I'm here to sleep, everybody. I'm here to sleep. And I'm like,
that is
I don't need that in my life.
that doesn't you're not selling me on these pods.
I don't think I'm trying to. I
Yeah,
mean,
you're not selling me on the pods.
I slept for like maybe an hour and a half of the 2 hours though, so that was
Okay. Okay.
okay.
Was the bed comfortable?
It was fine. It was totally fine.
Okay.
Um,
Okay. Well,
and then I walked around for a few more hours, and then I flew to Chicago. And then from 3 p.m. to almost 9 p.m., I had another layover. And then I had the Chicago to Columbia, and that's like a 40-minute flight. So I finally got to where I was supposed to be by 10 p.m. Tuesday night. And for those who don't know, traveling almost 24 hours to get to Columbia, Missouri is so stupid.
that is so oh my God. There's got there's got to be a better way.
I just shouldn't have flown into Columbia. What? I mean,
Yes.
it was nobody's fault. Like
Should
it
have flown
wasn't.
into KC, said
Yeah,
hi to us,
I really should have.
and then driven.
Yeah, with my imaginary car, I totally would have
They
done that.
would it not be would they not be able to pay for a car to rent for a day?
Oh, they could have. They probably would just send somebody to pick me up, which would have been easier.
Yeah,
Yeah, I mean that's probably what we'll do in the future if I
next time.
next time because this is an excellent music organization that hires me a few times anyway, so they're gonna hire
There you
me
go.
again. It's
Well,
not a complaint about them at all. It's just that's sometimes how it shakes when it comes to traveling.
you know what you're doing though is you were training yourself for next year
I
when we get to
was.
travel to Japan, hopefully.
Japan. I know.
Yeah,
Not even
you're
hopefully.
you're getting ready.
I am.
Oh,
So
you
that's
won't
always.
guess. Oh, sorry, keep going.
No, what? I won't guess what.
Well, you won't guess this cocktail that I am imbibing in. You won't guess the name, or maybe you will based on what we're talking about.
I don't know. It looks like orange juice.
Literally, it's called the Japanese cocktail.
Oh, what's in it?
It has cognac. So I was looking for cognac cocktails because I bought a thing of cognac and I was just trying to make different cognac cocktails. So I made a sidecar the other day. That's like a classic cognac cocktail. You can make a cognac old fashioned type thing, which is something famous in Wisconsin. And then I saw this one and I was like, oh, I got to try it. It's the Japanese cocktail. And I had the things for it. So it's cognac orgeat, which is like a
Like an
almond,
almond thing.
yeah, the almond sweet, simple syrup, basically. A little bit of lemon juice and some bitters, Angostura bitters.
Cool.
It's actually kind of nice.
It's funny that you say cognac. I had that for the first time last night at dinner.
Really,
Yeah, and
really. What? Yeah,
it
what was
was
your cocktail?
it was a milk punch, so it was like clear. It was clarified, um, like a fat wash, but it was done through milk instead of like a type of
Oh,
fat. It was really it was a smoother mouth feel is how these clarified drinks are supposed to feel in your mouth, and it did. And the cognac tasted less, I guess, sharp than
hmm.
it would have without it. I don't know if I
Without the
would.
wash.
I don't know if I would have it again. It was good, but I don't know if I would have it again, kind of thing.
You're not a big. I'm digging cognac. It's pretty smooth on its own. I mean, I guess with that wash, it's more smooth, but it's pretty smooth on its own. I kind of like it.
It was pretty cool.
And
I've seen these like milk punches on TikTok, so it was cool to finally get to try one.
cool. I have not seen those. I'll have to look into that.
I'll send them
So
to you.
since we don't have a medical moment, this will be our mixology minute right now.
It's our mixology minute with cognac
Mixology
and fun.
minute. Talking about cognac,
Yeah, we are.
a distilled wine spirit
Oh, really? Is
that
that
has
what
to
it
be
is?
made. Yeah, it's just so it's a brandy, right? So
Oh,
brandies are distilled wines. So it's like a liquor made from distilling wine. And then it's like the champagne versus sparkling wine, I believe. So
okay.
champagne being made in the Champagne region of France classically, or has to be, and then this is the cognac region of France, I believe. So a brandy that's made from grapes in that area, or at least made in that area, or some relation to that area.
Oh,
And it's a
cool.
cognac.
I
Yeah.
don't know why. I mean, I don't know why I had a drink last night and didn't know what I was drinking either, kind of thing. That's maybe I should not
And now
make
you
dangerous
know
choices.
because of trademark mixology minute.
Mixology minute. This is the fun. We're gonna talk about drinks in the sun.
And
All
now we
right.
have a theme song
Now
for
we
it.
do. Yeah, that's why I got my doctorate in music.
Working theme song
Whatever.
from our resident musician. But anyway, so that I don't even know, completely unrelated. I have zero idea how we segue into the actual um uh
New,
topic for today, but
new
it's a
topic.
new series. Tell them about the new series, DJ.
Yeah, so Sam had a great idea that maybe in between a couple of our bigger episodes, and I actually talked to some of the folks who listen to us online and messaged some of them privately, and they're all really excited for this new ranking type of episode that we're going to do. So we are going to start today with ranking our top 5 favorite magic users or favorite magic wielding characters from a JRPG or an RPG. Future episodes could be favorite main character, favorite healer, favorite warrior or tank, favorite rogue or thief or archer. You mentioned I think favorite villain or top favorite pet companions, which might be a little
Oh, there's so many
niche.
options.
There's so many options. But today we are going to start with our top 5 favorite magic wielding characters in a JRPG. And Sam, I'm going to let you go first with your number five, and we'll bounce back and forth between us.
Very good, very good. Yes, and like you said, being that healer would be another class. I at least tried to stay away from white mages or healing magic users primarily,
Same.
because that feels like a different class there. So anyway, yes. So my number five, I chose Elvis or Elvis Leslie from Bravely Default 2. I like to kind of think of the archetypes by color a little bit too. We're not talking about white mages. And then there's classically a lot of times you talk about black mages, red mages, blue mages. I thought a little bit about that. So I had a variety of different types in those archetypes for my characters. And Elvis from Bravely Default 2 would be pretty much a black mage, but also you can build him to be a red mage too through the different jobs and class systems. So appearance wise, again, those jobs and class systems will change the outfits that these characters are wearing and what they look like. But classically, he's got just this black mage. When he's utilizing the black mage job, he has a long black overcoat tight at the waist, a hood, a black fedora with a yellow band, some black gloves. So it's all black and yellow aesthetic, kind of very private eye almost. He's a scholar studying magic, and he's got this book where he's trying to fill it out by obtaining these asterisks. That's part of the storyline. He's a kind of probably youngish to middle-aged man. He has a Scottish accent, at least in the English translation that I listened to, which was it just kind of cracked me up, but it was very fun. He's a little brash, but generally positive and has all these fun quips and one-liners. So as a character, he was fun and entertaining. And then kind of skills and abilities and things that he did that drew me to him. Really, what this highlights to me is I'm really just calling out how much I liked the job and class system for Bravely Default 2, and all the specific magic classes. So the way I built him was as a black/red mage. So he had the black mage job class and the red mage job class. So from the black mage, he could utilize fire, blizzard, thunder, and I think some dark abilities. And then the red mage gave him earth and wind magic, but also the ability to kind of wield swords and a little bit of healing, just a dash, just a squosh of some healing in there. And really the job classes are awesome in this game, and I think it's almost a dozen different abilities you can get per job or class by the time they're maxed out. It's something like that. It's absurd. And then just a few other call outs for some other job classes that I used in this that were magical based. They had an Arcanist, which was not dark and non-elemental magic types, a Spirit Master, which was more of the white mage, so maybe that doesn't apply here, an Oracle that had fire, water, thunder, but then also kind of time based spells. You could slow the foe, or you could speed buff your team. And then probably one of the more unique ones that still sticks with me that I thought was really fun, that was a magic adjacent user, was this Pictomancer. So it was an artist themed character. And yeah, you could, they had some light and dark magic, but then they also had a lot of different debuffs. And specifically this one called Daub or DAUB, that you could apply a debuff to them that basically took down their resistance resistance for all magic types and all weapon types. So if you applied that or a couple levels of that, it just really debuffed the enemy, and it was pretty cool. So so Elvis was awesome. And then also I think just he was so memorable to me because there were so many fun magic wielding classes in Bravely Default 2, and he was my primary magic wielder. So he is my number 5.
That's cool. I love that. I went through the list that you've given, and I love that you have segmented them all into like black mage, red mage, white mage, etc. That just shows how popular Final Fantasy is, because you have never actually played a single Final Fantasy game. Sorry to out
No,
you.
Final Fantasy 7. We played that together.
Oh, you did. You're right. You're right. We did play that one.
Give me a little credit.
That's right. No, I'm totally wrong. We played Final Fantasy 7 together. But that one didn't really lean into red
No.
mage, blue mage, mage classes as much. But I just love how it's so popular that you're like, yeah, I know what a red mage is. And like when you started describing it, I was like, that's exactly what a red mage is according to Final Fantasy. Like you nailed
Yeah,
it.
yeah, yeah. And those archetypes carry out, as you'll see, pretty consistently, but in different game types.
Yeah, it
So,
really does.
or I mean, they're all RPGs, JRPGs, but yeah, those archetypes that I think started with Final Fantasy, yeah, they carry over.
Yeah. Cool. I know nothing about that game, so it's cool to get to hear you talk about it.
I think we've talked about it a little bit before, or maybe we have, or maybe we haven't. But the battle system and the job classes and all those things are, I think, where it really shines.
Mm.
Some people can't get past the visuals; they're a little puppet-like
Oh
almost.
yeah, precious
Yeah,
moments.
yes, yes. So some people can't get past that. It's not big on the story as much. I think it's just really shines with the gameplay and the mechanics and the turn-based combat, and that's why I liked it so much. So
Cool.
I don't know from how much we know each other. It just doesn't seem like the most up your alley.
Probably not, but you know, seems cool. You sold me on giving it another look at least eventually.
Give
So
it another
there's
look.
that. So my fifth place, I'm already starting and being like unconventional with this. My fifth place is the entire cast of Ikenfell, and I feel okay doing that because all of them are mages. Like the entire cast is built of mages, which is really unique.
I
Um,
think that works.
I think so. You know, each
Can't just
student.
choose one.
No, you can't. You can't. And so, those, if you've been listening to the podcast, you've heard me mention Ikenfell, well, one time on one of our beginning episodes. It's a really fun game. So each student is a magic user, and they have really, really different personalities. With more than one taking the place of a foe or an enemy at least one time before they join your party, which is really cool that you kind of get to battle your
Oh,
party members before they join you. Like I said, if you've been listening to the podcast, you know that I really dig the game, and one of the reasons is because all of the characters are queer. And I will be talking about this game one more time this summer, just so we know. So, the abilities with this, quite a lot. Each student has their own slightly different magical abilities. And what I love about this game, and I told you about this last time, there's no MP or there's no mana pool. There are just a few cooldowns that some spells have, but others have no cooldowns at all if they're kind of a lower level spell, so you can just spam them over and over again. Your main character, I think you pronounce her name Marit. I might screw up the pronunciation of some of these names. Your main character, Marit, is your pyromancer. She has tons of fire spells. She hits like a rock, man, like really, really hard. You have someone called Petronella. From what I remember, uses more status-based spells. I hear people call Petronella more of an alchemist or potion user with their spells.
mm,
Gilda uses electric as her main power, and like Marit, hits really, really hard. People I think call her an electromancer, though I don't know if that's a real term. You
it is
have
now
it
for
is
sure.
now. You have Pertizia, who uses mirrors as a component for casting spells, and also
Mm.
uses a little bit of illusion. One of my favorites from Ikenfell is, I'm gonna say Ima. Ima is more of an, I said artomancer, but really pictomancer. is
Pictomancer, there you go. Yeah.
Pictomancer is what Ima is. And Ima has spells that are related to painting, also illusions, and also has like the greatest theme song in Ikenfell as well. I'll talk about that when we talk
They
about the
each
actual
they
game.
each get their own theme song.
Gilda and Ima both have their own theme songs because you battle them one before they join
Oh,
your
so it's the
party.
battle music when you fight them, and then
Yeah,
it becomes
but their
cool.
battle music has words to it, and you're like, where do these words come from? Because this entire game had no voiceovers until these battle themes happen. Yeah, like I
That's
was,
crazy.
yeah,
Are
like you're
they good
playing.
lyrics though that gotta get stuck in your head?
They're incredible. They're so good. They're so good. I wish that they all technically have little leitmotifs or little themes,
Mhm.
but Gilda's and Ima's are like hands down the most memorable ones because they have words to them. At least I don't
Yeah.
remember the other characters having words. Anyway, I just think it's so cool that you can. Oh, I missed one. I missed Rook. I missed Rook as one of the characters. Rook is a traditional wizard and uses a lot of sigils or traps, or I think you could even describe them as runes. So that was 6 characters. You have a party of 3, but you can sub them out whenever you want. It's really cool to play with an entire party of mages. The running joke in these games is that the running joke in a lot of the old games is that magic users are weak or glass cannons, but not in Ikenfell. They're all pretty strong, which is nice because otherwise you'd have a really weak party that could just hit hard.
Yeah. So nobody has weapons too. It's
That's
just
right.
magic.
It's just magic. It is exclusively magic.
Cool.
Yeah. I want more people to play this game, so that's another reason why I ranked these students number 5, but it really is a pretty cool game. And I know for a fact one of our listeners had never heard of the game, listened to our like my many review of it of games that I played in
Yeah.
2023, and then they played it and said they really enjoyed it.
You
So
made a pretty compelling quick case for that. Especially it sounds like a game that, based on what you said, if it sounds like something you'd want to, it would hit for some people and they'd immediately know. They'd be like, that sounds like something that's really going to work. That's really going to be awesome
yeah, it's a
because it's
cool
so
game.
unique.
It's
Yeah.
super
Yeah.
unique and it's a fast, it's not one of those games that's going to take you 40, 60 hours to beat. It's, I think, maybe 15 hours or so.
Nice.
Yeah. So that
That
was
sounds
my,
very, very intriguing.
that was my rank number 5. Let's go to your rank number 4, Sam, and it is.
Number 4 for me, I'm kind of going a little bit outside the box here because I chose not a normal protagonist character, but I chose Alice from both the Persona and SMT series. So Alice, the Persona or the SMT character, is a black mage. Technically, she'd be the darkest of dark mage in so many ways. She is that um, young blonde girl wearing a blue or purple dress. Kind of looks almost like a school uniform. She's quiet. She's unassuming. She's just creepily quiet and unassuming.
Mm-hmm.
And I utilized her in my final parties for both SMT5 and Persona 3
Oh, cool.
just because it's so creepy. She's so creepy to me in a pleasantly just amazing way, just those creepy vibes, but it's fun. Just the little girl that's just going to f people up, and it hits so hard with the dark magic, and it's fun. So looking into her a little bit more, apparently she was based off of Alice in Wonderland, they
She sure
believe.
is. Yeah.
So that's where Alice comes from there. um in the Persona games, she's normally a death themed persona, and then the SMT games, she's a fiend or undead race a lot of times. And then
Oh.
all of her skills and abilities, she's very focused. She knows what she does well, and she sticks to it. It is the dark magic. It is the Mudo dark insta kill abilities, and then she's got her classic die for me skill, which, I mean, just kills me. That name is just so funny and so dark and so creepy in such a delightful way. I have a hard time getting it to hit in Persona 3 and getting it to actually hit anybody. They're all so good at dodging it, but it's still, even with Mudo boost and everything else, but still, gripes aside, Alice really just stands out to me because of both my time in SMT5 and
Mm-hmm.
Persona 3, as being in my final parties. Maybe that wasn't optimized. I think that's probably another thing that shows how much I liked Alice, is that normally I go for optimized characters and best characters and all those kind of things, but I liked her so much that I just kept her along because I thought it was fun.
That's cool. I didn't know that you liked the dark and the creepy. I mean, you know that my favorite, because you came all the way up 2,000 miles for my Halloween party last year. You
Mm-hmm.
know I love a good creepy horror time. So, are there would you be interested in RPGs that have that like dark creepy theme?
Maybe, but yeah, you're right though that I don't love horror stuff generally. It's not horror. Like, I don't like watching horror movies as much, and I don't like
Mhm.
being scared as much. It's just something about that character, and then she hits so hard and she's so tough and yeah, so such an amazing mage that really just kind of tickles me.
You mean she's amazing?
She's a mage. There you go.
There
There you
she
go.
go. Yeah.
But anyway, yeah. So that's my quick one for Alice from S&T and Persona as my number 4. DJ, what is your next character?
Nice. My number 4 is Mia. Mia Ausa from the Lunar series. So from Lunar the Silver Star, Lunar Silver Star Story Complete, Lunar Silver Star Harmony, Lunar Legend. Those are all the same games, just different versions of the same game.
Hmm.
And I played them all. So, and one of these days we'll make you play the Lunar series. One of these days, my friend.
We're gonna say that a lot. We'll try.
We'll try. Mia is a super soft-spoken little girl. She's like a teenager, but she's soft-spoken but doesn't lack leadership qualities. She quickly rises to the occasion to take over as the leader of the magical city of Vane when her mother is attacked and is too weak to lead. She is your kindest person in your entire party. She's also your traditional mage user. She wears a long, ankle-length purple gown, no armor at all, so she is best in the back of the party. You get her during the first quarter of the game, really. Then she leaves your party for like 2 hours, and then she rejoins permanently with another mage character at the same time. The other mage in the group is Nash, and he has this undying loyalty for Mia, and their relationship, while not the main point of the story, is explored briefly, and it's nice to see Mia not as just a plot device for romance. I can't say that about every character in every RPG, but it's nice that Mia is not just a secondary love story. In fact, everyone in the party loves Mia. She's just so nice without ever being unbelievably kind or without being like cloyingly sweet. So she's not annoyingly nice or anything. She is an elemental mage that focuses specifically on fire and ice spells, and she can also boost your attack and your defense, which sounds like she's doing a lot, but it really works for her. Her fire spells like Flame Bomb and Flameria hit super hard, but when I play, I find myself using her just as frequently as a buffer, using Power Drive to boost the attack power of Alex or Kyle, or using Ice Shell to boost her own defense, or Nash or Jessica's defense, the other healer or the mage. Lunar is a game that also lets the magic user use whatever magic is on their staff without sucking away any of their MP. So what I mean by that is, let's say she's equipped with a flame staff. So you can go to your inventory instead of the spells list and just click on flame staff. Oh. And a flame will shoot out of her staff and hit an enemy. Free of charge. Oh, which is pretty cool. So that's her basic attack. So that's my sell for you to play Lunar eventually sometime, because I will play it again, man.
Pretty good sell, because you went, deep into mechanics there about specific abilities and things that you use for each character, which is the way I like to talk. So
I know you.
Yeah, you were trying. I think that was calculated.
Oops. But no, I love the Lunar series. The first 2 games are the only 2 games I'm going to say that exist. And if you're a Lunar lover, you'll understand why I'm saying that. The first 2 games are great. Even my husband has played the first Lunar once or twice and knows the music by heart. So really, you're just the one missing out.
Sounds like it. You got me. I'm missing out. Well, with all my free time, I will work that game in as well.
You've got so much free time. What are you doing? Just taking care of 3 kids or something?
Just a new baby around as well.
Easy.
But yeah, I do all I can. In the first couple weeks, Bebe is very attached to mommy, as one might expect.
Yeah.
And I'm doing all I can to help, but it's definitely Tay with the workload here, and I love her for that. She's doing great.
You know what? Tay reminds me a lot of Mia, I will say.
Oh.
Yeah.
You're really pushing hard here to sell this. You just keep going.
Whatever, man. Whatever. Just play it sometime. Whatever, Sam. What's your number 3?
Okay. My number 3. So my number 3 is Celine, I think, or Celine, from Fire Emblem Engage. Do you think it's wrong? How would you say that?
I think Celine. That's how you say
Celine?
Celine.
Yeah, let's
Yeah.
do it. Celine. So she's rather classically red mage archetype, I would say. So she has the ability to utilize lots of magic, but also a little bit of healing and some sword usage as well. So she was in the game as the princess of Farine and the daughter of the current queen of Farine. Also the younger sister of Crown Prince Alfred. So she wears pretty ornate gowns, as one might if they are a princess. Has extremely long blonde hair. She's poised, proper, graceful, but also she has this inner strength that I felt that really drew me to her as a character. Skills, abilities, like I mentioned. So she's, within the Fire Emblem games, there's different grades that you have with different types of weapons and stabs and tomes for magic and those kind of things. So she has high grades in magical tomes and swords, and then also can utilize staves, which you can commonly use for healing abilities, but also teleportation and other magical abilities in the Fire Emblem games. She has some baseline additional healing buffs, so something called Gentle Flower that can apply to her, where healing items used around her can increase the amount of healing that somebody gets if they're close to her. Also, just some of the cooler abilities that I really like to use with her is you can kind of use this echo ability to double attack, kind of like splitting your magic between multiple different smaller enemies so you can knock them out quicker. You can be more tactical in how you're utilizing your damage rather than all of it hitting one. You can kind of split it up to knock out two weaker characters, weaker enemies. All of her classes that she utilizes were kind of some fun ones that were all mage themed. So I think at the end I had her as a mage knight, so she could have some more mobility on which is always huge in Fire Emblem games, to have that extra mobility on a mounted unit. She commonly would be equipped with, in Fire Emblem Engage, an emblem ring. The emblem ring of Celica bonded well with her, so that gave her additional magic buffs, tome proficiencies, a few different things. And then there's also this cool ability you could get, I believe it was through equipping that ring, where you could, called Warp Ragnarok, a cool sound there, where you can kind of warp across the map, just teleport across the map, and then hit somebody with a huge magical spell and just kind of take them out. So with positioning being so big also in these strategy RPGs like Fire Emblem, being able to warp down right on top of somebody and then just nail them with a powerful magical spell was pretty huge. And then the way I built her too, I built a lot of my characters in Fire Emblem like this, but at least on the difficulty setting that I had, I was capable of pushing a lot into the speed stat, and then doubling people up, and then also equipping something called Alacrity, which was a cool skill that allowed me to attack twice. If I could double them up and attack twice, I would attack both times before they got to attack once. So really, you would just knock them out before they could even attack back. And by the end, I think I mentioned this when I was reviewing Fire Emblem Engage, but with Celine, I was just basically, with Alacrity and how powerful she was, I was one-shotting dragons and stuff, and it was just so satisfying. So that's why she has a special place in my heart and on my list of top mages.
Is she the redhead?
No, she's not the redhead.
Oh, okay.
That was Yunaka. Yeah, Yunaka. She's more of a thief. So stay tuned if we do a thief one.
Yeah.
She
We'll
might
do
be
a
up
thief one.
there in my thief.
Cool.
Yeah.
Well, I love that you and I did not show each other this list until today, and we align with our third place. Not that it's the same character, but it's the same franchise. My third place is Lysithea from Fire Emblem Three Houses.
There you go.
Yeah.
Well, you were afraid that we were going to have, sorry to cut you off, but
Oh, you're
you
good.
were afraid we were going to have so many overlapping.
I know, I
And I
was.
was like, you know what? You've played so many more older RPGs than me. I don't think that's going to happen. And I think we have a really nice cross section from different games.
I think so too. No, yeah.
Okay.
So,
So
well,
sorry.
no,
Tell me
you're
about her.
good. Well, I mean, you know all about her because this is the first. This might be the first RPG that we played, quote unquote, together.
If not Final Fantasy VII, then yes, Three Houses.
I
Either
think
one of
it,
those two.
I think it was Three Houses. It's the
Okay.
end of 2020. Yeah.
It's an older game. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, haha. I mean, yeah. Older
Older,
quotes.
maybe
Yeah.
not for you.
Whatever. So Lysithea, the youngest magic user in the entire game, and her home class is the Golden Deer, which was my second playthrough. The first time I played through, I was the Blue Lions, but I made a point to recruit her because I heard she was just that good, and I think that she is that good. She's funny because she's kind of precocious in a little bit of a way, though I feel like if a character called her that, she would call them out and would hate being called that because she's constantly trying to seem like she is an adult despite literally being the youngest. It makes her almost bratty without ever actually being annoying. She just knows who she is for the most part and isn't afraid to be herself. In some ways, she's kind of like the the polar opposite of Mia from Lunar in a lot of
Yeah.
ways. Never annoying, but kind of teeters that line of almost going into trope or parody in
Yeah.
terms of their character. You are so much better at classes and advancing classes and subclasses when it comes to these games. I I'm not as good as that when it comes to like picking these classes. I know with her, I advanced her to Gremory. Is that how we say that? Gremory.
I think I'm not good at the pronunciation.
And it was coming from I think they all have to start as like a noble and then to a monk and then to a mage. And then I think I had her I think she was a warlock to a Gremory, maybe a bishop. I can't remember. Maybe I did it different ways on my playthroughs. I just remember that she hit really, really hard at the end with spells like Luna and Hades, and I had fun looking these up earlier today, like on YouTube, to see what they looked like. Luna looks like the moon, like sucks you up. It's this really cool animation, and
I remember
Hades,
that one.
right? Hades was just this really big purple explosion. But I remember everyone online also really liked her because she could use warp twice per battle, which would take someone on the field and warp them a pretty great distance away, which was, I think, probably the best non combat spell that is in the game. You know, I just remember her hitting like a beast. So the drawback for her, just like a lot of mages, is she was pretty vulnerable in battle. I remember having to heal her the most. And again, that's a result of me poorly positioning her more than the result of her stats necessarily. But I always remember like, oh no, she's almost gonna die. Gotta heal her again. Maybe she should warp herself out of there. So that was my number three, Lysithea from Fire Emblem Three Houses.
Yeah, I remember. Yeah, she is kind of a classic glass cannon
Yeah,
mage type. And I recall her being a lot of fun too, though. But oh yeah. So number two for me is maybe a little bit more outside of the box again.
I love it.
But I went with Triton, who from Xenoblade Chronicles 3. So he provides the Soul Hacker class, which is a blue mage type class. So a class where you gain skills, abilities, arts through beating certain unique enemies. So that's why I just had so much fun with the blue mage aspect of this character. Within why it's a little bit out of the box is within Xenoblade Chronicles 3, you can really classify a lot of people as attacker. It's attacker, healer, and defender are the three types. And then within attacker, you can utilize ether type attacks versus more physical type attacks. And that would be more like a magical attack based character. And the soul hacker class itself can utilize ether based attacks that they get from unique monsters and create kind of a mage like character, but you could also do a lot of physical damage and you could do other things if you wanted to build it like that. So it's maybe not classic mage always, but it fits that blue mage archetype in the sense that you're getting your skills and abilities by beating certain unique monsters and enemies throughout the game. And so that was what was so much fun. Oh, real quick on the character himself, he was awesome too. So Triton himself is literally a rowdy pirate character. So just seems off-putting almost when you first meet him, but so much fun. hilarious. Also, he's a little deeper than you might expect at first. Is so you're fighting against these consoles which wear this red armor and they're kind of the bad guys, and so that's what he looks like. He looks like he'd be a bad guy. He's wearing those. So sorry for any spoilers. By the way, I just jumped into that. But he is not. He's no longer fighting on that side of the consoles, and so he has his own little backstory there when you acquire his character and his class there. So character or abilities, skills. As I mentioned, you're getting these abilities and skills through beating unique enemies. And that was kind of the most fun part. There are, I think, about 140 different unique enemies in Xenoblade 3. So by beating all of them, you have so many different skills that you can equip and different arts, which are the types of attacks that you can also equip and utilize and different abilities. So you can really create this character any way you want. And you can specify if you're fighting a bad enemy that's a water enemy, then you can add additional attack for water-based attacks. You can do so many different things if you've beaten those unique enemies and acquired those skills. Kind of by the end, if you really want to be the powerful mage, some of the top skills you might have were toxic gas, elimination beam, and wild wave were some of the highest ether-based damage dealing spells you could have to build that type of damaging blue mage. Let's see. Oh yeah, the other thing I really liked about this, which is maybe more of a call out to Xenoblade 3 than anything else, is when you get these arts and these abilities, as you utilize them, or there's certain conditions that are primarily like utilizing them to do a certain amount of damage with that art, or killing a certain number of enemies with that art, they'll upgrade them and they'll become more powerful. And I like that aspect to the game too. I think this is something that, I believe Star Ocean has that. Sometimes the more you use an art or a skill, the more powerful it can become. There are some conditions to upgrade it. And I think some of the Final Fantasy games do that as well. But I like that, so that you can your art or ability, you obtain it, and then if it's one you want to work with, you can then upgrade it if you hit certain conditions. So there's a lot that you can do with the class, and that's what I really remember about this class more than anything, is how much fun I had acquiring all the skills and abilities. And it's kind of like the best side quests that you can do. It's not just, okay, go grind this, okay, go deliver this. It's, you can go out and fight certain characters, and you don't just get a medal for it, you get an ability, you make your character stronger, and that loop is really satisfying and fun and memorable.
Cool. I love a blue mage. I kind of forget that I kind of forget that they exist. Like I didn't include any blue mages on the list, but I think of Kina from Final Fantasy IX as a blue mage. I mean, that's because that's what they are. They're a blue mage. Or Keistis, I think is how you say her name, from Final Fantasy VIII. Obviously, Final Fantasy is not the only series that owns a blue mage, but it may have started in that series. I'm not sure.
I bet it did, or at least maybe not. There's a lot of other RPGs out there, but I think
Yeah.
it gets credit for it, if anything.
I think they at least get credit for coining the term blue mage, but
Yeah.
there's probably games or even RPG like tabletop games where a magic user gains abilities by fighting or defeating another enemy. But yeah, love a blue
Yeah.
mage. All right,
Well, there you go.
My number two. Speaking of Final Fantasy, we can't have a top five mages without one of us having someone from Final Fantasy in it,
Thank you.
right?
You did save us. We needed somebody to pick somebody
I know.
from Final
Otherwise, people would
Fantasy.
be mad at us.
They'd
So
be mad.
they would be mad. So the obvious answer is Vivi from Final Fantasy IX. He is best boy, hands down. There are a number of games that I would love you to enjoy at some point, and I joke about that, like oh, you should play this game and you should play this game. Final Fantasy IX is genuinely one of those games that I think you would enjoy, and while Vivi is not the main character, Zidane is technically the main character, though there's a few times where you are just controlling Vivi. Vivi has the better story, hands down. And it's not just me. It's like every critic is like, yeah, Zidane, the main character, is fine. Some have said that his storyline is a bit derivative, but Vivi's story is great. I'll go into that in a minute, but I won't spoil you for it in case you do play it. Um,
I think
Vivi
I have
is.
it downloaded and
Oh,
10. I
oh,
just haven't
really?
played it either. Yeah, I think I have both of them on my Switch. I just haven't played them.
Oh gosh, you let me know when you want to play 9 and I'll play it again. It's the only Final Fantasy game that I've played and beaten multiple times.
Oh,
Yeah, I've played Final Fantasy games multiple times, but Final Fantasy 9 is the only one that I'm like, I'm gonna beat it again because it's just satisfying and a little
okay.
sad. But yeah, he is your traditional black mage from the Final Fantasy series. He wears a blue robe, a pointy yellow hat. He has a shadow where his face should be, and he has beady yellow eyes. Like he's literally what the original black mage looked like in Final Fantasy 1. Like I said, he has the better story. He starts out as this shy, childlike character, very innocent, and it's heartbreaking to experience his story as he learns about his own birth, really his own creation, and about how his own kind will experience death and how death is coming for all of us, but for someone like Vivi, it'll be a lot sooner. And it's a little depressing to see this innocent child realize that he's not going to be around for very much longer.
Wow.
Yeah, so it's pretty depressing. Though in true Final Fantasy way, it's not like beating you over the head. It's not like Persona 3, depressing sad or anything.
Yeah.
Call
Okay.
back on that. Uh, let's see. As I mentioned, Vivi's a black mage, so he uses a ton of elemental spells. He has this ability called Focus that he can use in place of attacking or in place of using a spell, which improves his spell damage by 25%, and it can stack up to 99%. So you can use it 4 times.
Ooh, I love
Which,
that.
yeah, it's really awesome. So obviously, Flare is one of the best spells for him to do, and it just wipes out the entire battlefield. You can have someone cast double on him, which makes him fire off 2 spells back to back. So if he's focused up to 199% damage and is doubled and uses Flare, he could maybe wipe out a boss in
Nice.
one. Yeah, I mean, again, that is, I guess that's me getting mechanical, and I'm not doing that to like try to make you play it. But now that I realize I'm talking mechanics, I can see your eyes light up a little bit.
Yeah, I'm paying much more attention. No, I'm
You
just kidding.
really are.
I was always paying attention.
But uh, Vivi is the best cast, the best of the cast members in a video game full of an amazing cast, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Like there's one dud in your main party because there's always one who's not who comes in too late for the story to really get that developed,
Okay. Okay.
right?
They
But
don't get a chance.
they don't really get a chance. It's not really their fault, but like the cast is it Final Fantasy 9 is not my favorite Final Fantasy, but it might be the best Final Fantasy.
It's always one that people talk about, right?
Yeah,
But
I mean, and I
how long
genuinely
does it take to play?
with the new quality of life that has the speed up options,
Mm-hmm.
30 hours maybe,
Okay.
35.
Not horrible. Okay. Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
not horrible. I mean, I know you would play it to get some of the secret things and to get the best of whatever. And the spell system for Final Fantasy 9, I mean, I could talk an entire episode on the spell system alone, so I won't even do it here. We'll talk after the episode, but I think you'd like this one.
Okay. Okay. Well, yeah. And hours, time to beat is always relative because for whatever reason, I'm much slower than everyone else.
You are,
But
and
that's okay.
I'm slower than everyone else too, but you're even slower.
I'm so slow. I don't get it. I don't get it.
It's okay.
I'm doing something wrong, and we'll figure it out one of these days.
I don't think
But
you're doing
it's
anything
okay.
wrong. I think you're enjoying it at your own speed.
Maybe. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. There's no wrong way to play. So you and I have listed our top 4, and I thought it'd be great to list honorable mentions. So before you list your first place rank, why don't you give us your honorable mentions?
Very good. So yes, my honorable mentions. When I was thinking through this, I I didn't put any of them in the top 5, but there were several from one of my, favorite games of Triangle Strategy. Both Narv and Frederica were 2 memorable mages from that game, Triangle Strategy. And then I did like Lysithea also, but for whatever reason, Flayn with the green hair was more memorable to me as a mage in Fire Emblem's Three Houses. So those would be a couple of my honorable mentions that did not make the top 5 list for me. But number 1 for me might not be too surprising with how much I raved on this game before, but my number 1 is Oswald V. Vanstein, the Scholar from Octopath Traveler 2. So yes, he is my top favorite, best one. He's pretty classic black mage archetype. The character is this, at least when you meet him, kind of grungy, rugged, long, dirty blonde hair, this big, large brown overcoat. He's literally kind of in rags at the beginning because you find him in a prison at one pretty early on in his story. His whole story, just really hit with me and resonated with me. So it's centered around someone taking, not because this happened to me, but someone kind of taking his family away from him. This rival scholar. I don't want to say too much, I guess, but this happens pretty early on. I think even in his first chapter, takes his daughter and his wife from him, his family, and this resonates because I am a girl dad now times 2 after baby K was born. He's got these kind of badass Liam Neeson Taken vibes, going back to get his family, and he gets framed for his family, his wife dying, and so he spends 5 years in this icy prison after being framed, and then he escapes and he's ready for revenge, and I was all for that. I was fighting for him. I also like that similar to Elvis, he's a magic scholar. That's kind of where he gets his magical abilities through study and study of the magical arts, and specifically kind of the mathematics of arts, or of magic, I mean, which is where he gets his abilities. And he's searching for kind of the one true magic, as well as trying to get his family back and get revenge. So his skills and abilities, they're pretty classic black mage abilities, but they also benefit gameplay and help streamline gameplay, especially something called Study Foe that he has. Breaking enemies and knowing their weaknesses is pretty paramount in Octopath. And Study Foe, his Study Foe ability, will let you learn 1 or 2 weaknesses of the enemy right off the bat. You just get to know them without trial and error, without trying to hit them. You just know some weaknesses, which is huge. Then he has magic abilities to start that are fire, ice, and lightning. And then there's a lot of, you can also equip 2 different classes in Octopath 2, similar to Bravely Default 2. So you will be able to equip additional job classes that will have additional magic, light or dark if you want to, or other things that he might be able to utilize. His path actions, which are certain abilities you can have during the daytime and nighttime in Octopath, maybe not too memorable here. You can just get some more information by scrutinizing somebody, almost Sherlock Holmes-esque. When you're asking about them, you might be able to, through scrutinize, find a new hidden item in the area. Ooh. Unlock new weapons at the shop for that city or town. And also you might, by scrutinizing them successfully and looking into their soul through deduction, you can make the use of other path actions more likely to succeed. And then at night, it's just Mug. He can beat people up and get items from them. So a little bit of both worlds there. He can utilize his intellect, or he can just fight somebody, I guess. And then, at the end, as you level up, as you get further on in the game, he just becomes really, really powerful. You'll get a divine skill, Alphane's Wisdom, which you can hit 3 times with a spell, and then you have a concentrate spell latent power. So instead of hitting everybody on the battlefield, you can then focus fire on one enemy, which is really great for bosses.
Yeah.
So that one, you could really make him, he wasn't my number one damage dealer by the end, but he was the second most potent damage dealer by the end. So between the story that, you know, really hits with me as girl dad, and wanting in that revenge path when girl dad was messed with, uh and then yeah, kind of the scholar aspect, and then how it's also pretty much my favorite game right now. All those things are the reasons that Oswald is number one for me.
Number one, that, man, you really sell me on Octopath 2 every time you talk about it. I just I just stopped playing it. There's no reason why I stopped because it's objectively a fabulous game. I should probably restart it at some point. Maybe when I have free time. When we're not
There you go.
when we're
Yeah,
not playing
exactly.
other games.
That's always the caveat.
I know, I know. So my honorable mentions are Cyrus from Octopath Traveler 1, which is basically who's the character you just what was his name?
Oswald, yeah, he's
Oswald.
basically Oswald from Octopath One.
Yeah, he's basically Oswald from Octopath 1. And I almost put him as number 5. Like, because that's how much I liked him. And then I
Yeah.
literally thought, I was like, "Ooh, I think Sam really liked him too. We might double up. I won't put him."
Oh,
Ah, so there you go. So
you're
we were
pretty
close.
close. Yeah.
I also think Oliver from Nino Kuni is a fun, cool mage and just a beautiful game. And Rune Walsh from Phantasy Star 4, kind of a little bit more of an esoteric choice, but it's an excellent game. It's another one of those because of the quality of life speed up. I think you can play it in like I think I played it in 16 hours,
Wow.
which was
Okay.
kind of great.
Yeah.
It's another one of those that yeah, I've played it before, but if the spirit moves us and it makes sense to review it, I would totally play it along with you again.
We'll see
If
where
it
the
makes
spirit
sense.
takes us.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So those are my honorable mentions and my just how I began the list being kind of unconventional. I will end the list with my first place being the Circle of Magi main character from Dragon Age Origins. So in Dragon Age, you get to create your own character and you get to pick one of 6 origin stories before all 6 of those origin stories would branch off into the main story. And the Circle of Magi character is hands down the best one. You start out as a mage in the Circle of Magi, and you're in the middle of taking your final test as an apprentice mage, and this test is called the Harrowing. Spoiler alert, you pass, so victory for you, but one of your mage friends who has not yet passed their apprenticeship, he finds out he's going to be made tranquil. And in Dragon Age, this means that they're going to be stripped of their dreams and their personalities and basically just be a husk of a person.
Mm.
And that's usually saved for dangerous magic users. Interesting. So your friend convinces you to help him escape the tower. Things go sideways really quickly. Your friend turns out to be a blood mage, which is a big no no. He escapes the tower, and you're about to get in trouble, but a visiting Grey Warden likes you and conscripts you into battle. And that's just the first 3 hours of the game. It's really
Starts off
jam
with a
packed.
bang.
Yeah, it starts off with a bang, man. You can be either a human or an elf in the Circle of Magi. You can be a human, elf, or dwarf for a lot of the other origin stories, but dwarves in Dragon Age cannot use magic, so they can't be part of the Circle Magi. Yeah,
Okay.
I know. They set their own standards there. As a mage, you'll be wearing some type of robe for your armor almost exclusively. With each level, you get to choose how you want to grow or evolve your magic user. There are four main trees: Primal, which is the elements like ice, fire, stone, and lightning. There's Creation, so think healing or fun glyphs that can like knock enemies back. There's Spirit, so think mana draining or telekinesis or even some light necromancy. And then there's Entropy, which are things like hexes and life draining. You can then specialize into two additional subclasses: Arcane Warrior, Blood Mage, Shapeshifter, or Spirit Healer. Every time I play it, I'm always an Arcane Warrior because you get to wield a magic sword and you get to use a little bit of light armor. And I'm also a Spirit Healer because I'm always freaking out about healing. So there's that. So yeah, oh my gosh, Dragon Age Origins. I think when I played it the first time back in 2009, I played it and I beat it, and it was the first time I had spent more than like 35 hours on a game in my life. And I only spent like maybe 50 hours on it. And back then I was like, whoa, can you believe I spent 50 hours on a game? This is wild. And I remember as soon as I beat it, and your wife was, and my husband and I were all studying together, I was like, I'm going to take a Dragon Age Origins break and stop studying and beat the game really quickly. And then we had our finals week, and then I started it all over again and beat it all over again the next week.
In 1 week?
Yeah, that's how much
Another like 40 hours?
Yes. Yes.
Oh, undergrad.
I know. Oh,
Why
those
can't we be
days.
back in those days?
Jeez. Oh my god.
No, I'm kidding. But
Yeah.
there were some perks.
There were some perks, like being able to play Dragon Age Origins 2 times in a row.
That sounds great. I also like. I love the little hint at light necromancy, just a dab of death magic.
Just a dab of death magic,
Just
because
dabbling in some death magic.
well, because most of the death stuff for that is in like the entropy skills tree, like where you get to hex and misdirect and do like poison cloud. But then for some odd reason in the spirit tree, you can like raise a skeleton to fight on behalf of you for a little bit.
Cool. No, I get it. It just was funny. It's like just dabbling in the death magic.
Just a little Diablo Dark magic. So that was our first ranking episode, which I think it went rather well.
I think it went okay. Yeah.
Yeah. Hey Sam, what are you playing right now?
Well, right now I am in the midst of Mother 3,
Woo-hoo!
as I believe you are too, and then a
Yes, I
little
am.
bit of Unicorn Overlord. I really haven't played much because I've been trying to get far in Mother 3, and as we've mentioned, raising the new one. But yes, I will probably finish Mother 3 and then go head over heels into Unicorn Overlord. But Mother 3 is what I'm primarily playing. How about you?
Yay, I'm also playing Mother 3. I plan to beat it this week. I don't know if I will, but that's my plan, is to finish it. I'm about to enter chapter 8, which is the last chapter.
That's the last chapter. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So
Do the chapters get longer as it goes?
chapter 7 is the longest,
Okay.
but the rest of the chapters all seem to be like 3 hours or something, 2 hours maybe even.
Okay.
I think
Yeah.
I spent a good 5 hours on chapter 7.
Ooh. Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
I think I'm halfway through 4 at the moment.
You'll beat a chapter 7 before you know it, because 5 is not that long, and then chapter 6 is like a cutscene.
Okay.
It's like an intermission.
But then I'll be stuck in 7 for a while. Okay.
Yeah,
fine.
yeah. There's a lot that happens in chapter 7 at least. Like you're not just wandering around.
Okay. Cool.
Yeah,
Cool.
yeah. Yeah, so those are the games that we're playing right now. Mother 3, because you're going to hear a little bit about Mother 3 later this month, but I'll get to that in a moment. We're going to do a little social media call out. You can find us where? At Turn-Based Besties on Instagram. You can listen to us wherever you listen to your podcast, probably Spotify or Apple Music, but you can also find us on iHeartRadio, Pocket Cast, Overcast, Google Podcast, and probably some places that we don't know about. Go to our socials and let us know, who's your favorite magic wielding character in an RPG? Did we leave out any of your favorite Magic users, or did we include any of your favorites? Let us know. You can also email us comments and questions at our email that I swear we'll probably check once a month, turnbasedbesties@gmail.com. Like I said, we'll be back later this month to cover the cult classic Mother 3. Probably not going to release it on Mother's Day, but a little bit after. We've got lives. We're a little bit busy, so we'll get behind on the schedule just a smidge. We've loved the following that we've been getting on social media the past couple of months, and we can't wait to continue to go on a new adventure with you each month here at Turn Based Besties.
So, as we say, when everything in the world points right, maybe go left and see what you find. I'm Sam.
And I'm DJ, and this has been Turn Based Besties. Bye!
Bye.